Good morning, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're well. Coming to the garden this morning, it's kind of odd. Oh, there goes my nose scratched straight away. It's the cat hairs. Yeah, it almost feels autumnal today, and it's kind of caught me off guard a bit. There's still warmth out there, but there's a breeze and it's quite chilly. And I don't know if you'll get this, but the quality of sound has changed. And I think just walking on site when there are so many plots which are they're half bare already. And what is left, I think part of it is where leaves are rustling. You can almost hear the dryness in the leaves. Yeah, it's kind of odd. I don't want this summer to be over. I don't mind those ridiculous in the 30s temperatures being over, but I'm not ready to say goodbye to the summer yet. So that's a bit odd coming on site today. And the other thing, and I'm sure we've all experienced this at times, but I'm having it massively today and I don't know why, is I'm just not in the mood. I don't know why. How can I not be in the mood to be in the garden? It happens from time to time, and quite often if I'm in this sort of mood of can't be bothered, I'll come to the garden anyway, especially at this time of year, because there are things to pick, to get home, to get preserved, to get stored for the winter. And quite often, if I arrive in this mood, once I actually start to get tucked into the garden, then my whole mood changes and I love being here, and then I don't want to tear myself away. But I think it's quite common for me at this time of year that I get this feeling, because we do so much work, sort of March, April, May, June. It's really obvious work that needs to be done, and we get on with it and we get stuck in. And then in the summer we kind of start to just step back a bit, and then it's about watering mainly and harvesting. Yay! So that kind of rhythm of coming here and doing the work, it's kind of gone out of habit, if you like. I think that's it. It's gone out of habit. And so now I'm looking at the garden, and well, as I was saying in my last video, I really haven't been doing much gardening per se. I've literally just been either harvesting or watering. So now I'm kind of faced with these kind of messy beds. It's not messy in terms of weeds. The weeds, I think, basically over the years, because I've been quite thorough with the weeding, I'm really lucky that the weeding isn't really an issue. But it's just there are plants which are splaying and everywhere. They're out of control. Things do need tying in, staking, the grass needs cutting, all that. And I look at it and I'm looking at the whole thing and thinking, where to start, because everywhere I look there are little jobs that need doing. So what I tend to do on a day like today, whether I do it today or not is a different matter. It's whether I can just get that energy going. But I find the easiest way to tackle things when it's so everything needs doing is to literally go one bed at a time. Do one bed, do it thoroughly, move on to the next bed. I generally kind of think, the way it's looking at the moment, that each bed is probably going to take about anywhere between an hour or 2 hours work. Times that by 4 beds, we're looking at anything between 4 and 8 hours. And then of course there's the herb bed and the little vine bed, the grapevine bed. I haven't looked to see if that grapevine's alive, it's so covered in foliage. So it looks like, realistically, I've got a good, can you hear that wind picking up? It looks like I've got a good 8 hours work to get on with and get back on top of things. Am I bothered about getting it done today? Nah. You know, it'll all be okay. If I don't do anything today, the garden will be fine. I will need to do things in the next week to 2 weeks or so, but what I'm saying is, if it doesn't get done today, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. The garden is producing, the plants are doing their own thing. Do they need much interference from me? Nah, they'll just get on and do things and just be in their own kind of mad, crazy, sprawling, splaying, ad hoc fashion. What I definitely will do today is do some harvesting. Oh, and I thought one of the things we could do today is I'm going to talk about the calendula from the beginning to the end, as it were, because a lot of people have been asking questions about various stages, because I know a load of you have tried them for the first time this year or want to try it next year because you're really keen to do your own oils and balms. For the how to, I'm not going to talk about how to make the oil or the balms today, but if you look on my channel, I think it's in the bottom list. I think I've got sort of 4 or 5 categories. Right at the very bottom you'll see a category called Try It Yourself, TIY, and in there you'll find one video on how to make the oil maceration using the cold maceration technique, and then there's a second video about how to make balm. So I use both. I use the oil just for sort of everyday skin use, and I use the balm for really dry bits, so hands. Sometimes, you know, when we're getting our feet ready for the summer, to have them in sandals, on my heels, that sort of thing. But the balm is also great for eczema, nappy rash. I've made loads and given loads out to friends for those different purposes, and they all swear by it. So yes, let's have a little look at some of the calendula. And the other thing I'm going to do today, because I'm harvesting tomatoes, is I suddenly realised the other day, I think it was a comment Paul made on Richard's channel, excuse me, about seed saving. Because I've got so many new varieties this year given to me by friends. Thank you so much, friends. I have been this week thinking about which ones I'd like to grow again next year. So with all the tomatoes that I've grown, I've tasted them both raw and cooked, and I've pretty much decided on the ones I want to save. The reason I'm talking about this today is because we are now starting to get some rain. Still not quite enough, but we are getting some. So at any moment, blight can hit. And I don't want to be saving seeds from blighty tomatoes. And the other thing is, of course, some of them, the harvesting is going to finish soon. So the last thing I want to do is bottle the last of my tomatoes and then suddenly think, oh no, I didn't save any seed. So if you're wanting to save some tomato seed, start to think now about which varieties you like, which varieties you want to keep. Make sure you set aside a couple of your favourite toms for seed saving. Should we go in the garden? Yeah, let's get into the garden. Decisions with the tomatoes. So, I brought my this was the little plan I made when all the various tomatoes were donated to me, so that I can name them as I set them aside for seed saving for next year. So, the first one I'm definitely going to save is this. I'll show you this little, oh, the sun's in the wrong place, isn't it? I'm going to move you, hang on a sec. There we go, that's better. I can't see any of you, but you can at least see this. So now this one is called, wait for it, this is called Red Pear. This was from the girls next door. So what I'm going to do as I go around is, I've got one of my little cell trays and some lolly sticks. I will literally put 1 or 2 of each of the tomatoes I want to save in one cell and label it, because what I don't want is to save a load of seeds and have no idea next year what they're called. So this is Red Pear. what I've definitely discovered this year is, actually let's have a second one, or three. I've not been massively keen on any of the really big ones. I find them, now I don't know whether it's just been the weather this year or whether it's normal, but I find them a contradiction of they're a bit tough but watery. I think watery is more about the flavour, the tough with the skins. So definitely the ones I'm going to save are the kind of smaller, juicier, gorgeous ones. So a couple more I've had. The other thing when you're collecting for saving seed is try and find the really, really, really ripe ones. When we're saving the seed in a way, we want to replicate as closely as possible what would happen in nature. And in nature, these tomatoes would get really, really ripe. They drop on the floor, and then magic will happen with the seeds, which I might actually tag a little bit on, or I'll do a separate video about saving the seed and how in saving it we're trying to replicate nature. So that's my red pears. Now, which were the other ones I liked? There's one over here. Let me show you. Oh, it fell off. It's so ripe. This is a cherry. I can show you. It looks like a bog standard cherry. Speaking with my mouth full of pencil. And this one is called Super Sweet. And it really is. What I've liked about them is, I'm just going to write a label, Super Sweet. These ones came from a neighbour ways down the other end of the plot. Thank you, that neighbour. What I've liked about Super Sweet is they've been really lovely in salads, raw, but actually the skins are quite thin, which has meant a few have split when we've had rain. But I found with cooking them that I don't mind the skins. So actually, in terms of, for me, bottling them, processing them, I've done them with their skins. Makes life so much easier. Also, just to say, I've completely run out of bottles and I've no money to buy any more. So now I'm at the stage where all my tomatoes are getting frozen rather than bottled. And I know some people have been asking about this. And yes, there's a video already that I did last year. So if you look again, look down the screen on my channel, you'll find a line, and I think it's called Storing My Produce. And you'll see there's a video there called Freezing My Tomatoes. Yay. So I wasn't really keen on the Super Marmande. Actually, let me show you. I'm going to take you off and show you the rest. Okay, so that's a Super Marmande that needs picking. Oh, it looks like something might have had a nibble already. Like I say, I have used them. I have bottled some, but I'm not massively keen on it. Put it this way, I'm not keen on it enough to preserve them for next year. These have been gorgeous. Now, I don't know the name of these. These came from Kay on the other side of the plot. But as you can see, they're so teeny tiny. But my goodness, they're like little sweeties in your salad. They're so beautiful. Loads more coming and loads more to ripen. But will I give space to them? I'm not sure, because all of the other cherries that I do anyway are gorgeous in salads. So I may not bother, because like I say, they're so small and fiddly. These here are, I'm looking at my list. Oh, these were some Roma. They've been okay. That's not brilliantly ripe. I'll keep hold of that. I didn't mean for that to come off. They've been okay, but I think the little pair have been so great that I'm not going to bother with these. I shall obviously harvest and freeze these, but will I grow them again next year? Probably not. Moving on to this one. This is called De Heart. I think it's called De Heart. So, that one's split. I think that's the rain we had just the other day. They've been, yeah, they've been okay cooked. I haven't particularly enjoyed them raw, but like I say, cooked they've been fine, but not particularly prolific. So I think I may save some seed from these, and then next year when I'm planning the garden, or over winter when I'm planning next year's planting, I'll see if there's space for them. If there's space, I'll put some in, but if they're competing for space, they will probably lose out because of their lack of, well, not being prolific. So back down here, this is the super sweet. They've gone all over the place, and they have been wonderfully prolific. And then just tucked in here, these have been lovely too. These are called Mountain Magic, and they've done really well, and they taste good both raw and cooked. So again, I think, oh, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to save a bit of everything and have no space next year. We'll see. I've got loads of this yellow one that's unnamed. Now, I didn't like them. Oh, I'm so sorry. They were a gift from the girls next door, but I don't know. I just haven't liked them. So I will keep harvesting them and give them away to folk who do. Likewise, this sort of black version, you can see in there. Again, they don't suit my palate, so I will continue to harvest and give those away. I'll try and swap them for something. But those two definitely won't be saving. Coming on to, this is coming over from next door. This is, I think it's Sun Gold. It may be, oh, no it's not, is it Sun Gold? It may be Nimbus, no I think it's Nimbus. But I'm just trying to show you up and under. I've had loads off this already, absolutely loads, and there's loads more to come. And I've really, really enjoyed them. So they are going to be definitely one for saving. And again, the skins have been perfectly palatable when cooked. So again, for sort of freezing and saving those, I have been doing them with their skins on, which, like I say, saves tons and tons and tons. Oh my goodness, there's loads down there to harvest. Then this row over here, this is supposed to be my Gardener's Delight, my last minute bungins of Gardener's Delight. There is no way these are Gardener's Delight. This was a second sowing. They were not from my saved seed. They were seeds that were given to me. And yeah, there's no way that they're Gardener's Delight. And next to them, I can show you down in here. Ooh, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? That's a Gardener's Delight, and I will be saving. And then, this is another one that I've quite enjoyed. This, sorry, really bad angles. Oh, here we go. In here is better. This is called Nimbus. I think this one tastes slightly better cooked than raw, but it's been pretty prolific. I've had a good amount off here, so I think that's another saver. And then a couple of experimental ones that Catherine opposite gave me, which she was trying for the first time, this is Subarctic Plenty, and then next to it First in Field. Now First in Field, you see all this green stuff, these green fruits? First in Field is supposed to be a really early ripener, and it hasn't. And then this Subarctic Plenty is supposed to be blight resistant. Anyway, the bottom line is neither of them have impressed me, so they are not going to make it to the save list. As for in the rest of the garden, oh, can we see through here? Can I zoom you in? Let's see if I can zoom you in slightly. Wrong way, Vivi. In here, right in here. Carry on going in. Whee! That is my Rose de Berne from France. It tasted gorgeous. I did have some of the flesh. I don't know if they're going to ripen in time. I so hope they do, because it was a nice tasting one and it's a lovely memory. and there's masses and masses of fruit on those plants. So if I can get them to ripen, obviously they were a second sowing, they went in really, really late, but if I can get them to ripen and I enjoy them, oh, ice cream van! Yeah, if I can get them to ripen, then I shall be saving more of those seeds too. Right, I think it's time for me to get picking, firstly for harvest, but also secondly for saving. Yay, save your own seed, guys, you'll save a small fortune. You're right there, Rusty. Oh, cuddle, feed, what have you. Anyway, look, I just brought, so I've made my final decision. Oh, big shadows in the way. So just a little picking today, because I am picking most days. So that will make about, there's maybe a couple of pounds there, maybe a bit more. Yay! So I'll get those home in a second and get them pulverised for the freezer. I'm just going to come this way because of my shadow. So in the end, I've decided on saving red pear, which is the little teeny tiny plum. Gorgeous. This little cherry called Super Sweet. Actually, that's quite a small one. Oh, I just split it. Never mind. But mostly they've been that sort of size. Really lovely, like I say, raw and cooked. I'm going to save some seed from Nimbus and from, what's this one say? Mountain Magic. So I've got sort of a couple of medium-sized ones, and then finally the Sun Gold. And just having looked as I was harvesting that little lot, the ones which are supposed to be Gardener's Delight and obviously aren't, it's just occurred to me, I think they may be the Rose de Berne because of their size and colour. So it's quite possible I mixed up my Rose de Berne and my Gardener's Delight. Fab! Oh, and yay! My first pepper is ready. So, I think some sort of tomatoey, peppery salad, or I don't know. I might make. I've got no idea. But yeah, look at the colours, aren't they beautiful? Doesn't nature give us the most amazing colours? Right, time to do some calendulas. Oh, happy calendula days. So I've got loads and loads of trays like this. I've already emptied a few, but I've got about, by the looks of it, about 6 more to do. So these have been, they're all mashed together. These were picked, maybe 3 weeks ago. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, they're really, really dry. So literally all I do, any old jar, I literally just pull off the petals, in they go into the jar, if you're sure that they're completely dry. If you're not sure that they're completely dry, leave them for a little while longer. So this will take me ages. This is the sort of thing, actually one of my neighbours has just shown up, lovely Sheena from next door, and it's the sort of thing to do over a cup of tea and a chat with a friend. And before I know it, well, hopefully I'll have a beautiful jar full of summer sunshine. So once they're completely dry and stored in the jars like this, I will literally have them at home in a shady corner because I don't want to lose the colour, and that's it. They'll just stay in the jars. They'll probably last me about a year, and as and when I need some more oil or balm, I'll just hoik some off the shelf and make some more balm. But let me just put those out of the way for a second, because some of you have been asking other questions about the calendula. So first things first, sowing. I sow my calendula direct from the beginning of May, when it's just about warm enough, right through till June if needs be. So in the cathedral bed I sowed them right up to the end of June. Just a sort of finely raked bed, literally a drill maybe a centimetre or so deep, chuck them in. I chuck them in with all their husky bits too, I don't care. Rake over, keep them watered. So as they come up and as they start to flower, when they're at this stage, that's the perfect time for harvesting. Brilliant. But as you know, I save all my own seeds. So if I was to leave that and do nothing, eventually you'll see a seed head starts to form. So you can see where the petals are now drying up, and behind the petals in here, these sort of little green curls, that's your seeds starting to form. But at this stage, the seeds are really, really immature and they're not really going to do anything for you. Eventually, we go from that, all the petals will have dried up and fallen off, and you'll see the centre is starting to go a little bit brown. Oops, that's a bit of a mark. It's beginning to get to where it needs to go, and from that stage it will then it's very obvious, this sort of the little outside bits, you can sort of see and feel that they're getting really pretty dry. So from that stage then, and here we are at the harvesting for seed stage. Can you see that? So when they're good and brown and fairly dry like this is the stage I pick them, and then I hang them upside down in a paper bag to catch all those seeds. I'm just going to knock them off into my hands so you can see. Hang on a sec. So you'll get a lot of, actually, can you see very well? I'm not sure about the light. Should we go outside for a second so you can see? That's better. Really, really bright. I can't see a thing, but hopefully you can. So at that stage, when it's all dry, that's what I chuck in my soil come May. However, amongst this, there's lots of rubbish too from the actual flower head. What you're actually after are, let's separate a couple. These things which look like, I don't know, fossilised worm droppings or something. These here. So that's your seed. It really, really could not be more simple. They grow so easily. You can harvest masses and masses and masses for your skincare throughout the year and still be left with a load to let go to seed, gather your own seed. You'll have loads. Hang on, let's come off and see you again. I'm really, really squinting. Honestly, it couldn't be easier. So you'll end up with masses and masses of seed, which is lovely because then you can give some to friends. What a lovely Christmas present to give to someone is a packet of your homegrown seeds. It may be one of the little seed packets. I showed you how I make my seed packets earlier in the year. So yeah, give it a go. Grow them for their beauty, grow them for their wonderful, wonderful skin benefits. Save your own seed, save a fortune, save the planet. Well, listen, on that note, I'm going to get stuck into getting these petals off and having a chat with our lovely Sheena who's just turned up. So for now, I'm going to say cheerio. Wow, that sun's really coming out. Have fun in your garden. Start thinking about which seeds you want to save from where. Start earmarking your plants. Start gathering all your bits to save your own seed. And come next spring, you'll be planting a garden for free, maybe. See you all again really soon, I hope. Take care.